Good morning. Namaste. It is Dave, bringing you another YouTube video through the channel of Holistic Wellness and Well-Being under the entity Phoenix Holistic and Wellness. A lot of our difficulties in life is that we end up having subconscious and unconscious generational patterns, ancestral pass downs that weren't fully solved, for lack of a better word, in a previous generation. And it came through multiple different ways. DNA, through passing on words, through sharing of thoughts, through modeling expressions of feelings and behavior. Apologies when just picked up. And I wanted to bring your attention to, yes, there is a possibility for you to break those generational patterns, okay? Now, these patterns can be subconscious programming. It can be subconscious or generational trauma, a block of healing or a wall of resistance. Can be embedded through family and traditional passed down ideals, concepts, beliefs, values, okay? Mindset. Sometimes we don't always really know the mindset that we are embodying because we might be going on autopilot. So I teach you how to transform your mindset into alignment of your unique higher self. Rewiring your brain, and this is called neuroscience, neuroplasticity, where you form new neural pathways, and as you start lighting up these new neural pathways, they start firing together, okay? Rewiring your brain is not difficult. Rewiring your mindset is not difficult. The only difficulty is choosing to do so, okay? We often stand in our own way from achieving that which we want to achieve because we allow our thoughts to sabotage us, okay? I am going to go into a rewiring of your mind. It'll take probably about 10 minutes if you will stay with me for this amount of time. Sometimes the legitimate followers will stay longer than the 2 to 3 minutes just to get an activated subscriber and like and comment. By the way, you're more than welcome to comment below any questions you have. Let it come, let it flow, okay? I have no problem answering your questions, all right? But what if I enlightened you? That there are two sides to you. There's the enlightened side and the shadow side. Now, these two sides coexist, but we often are imbalanced and we lean on one or the other more dominantly. The shadow side is where we store all of our unmet needs, all of our traumatic events, all of our unexpressed emotions, okay? The enlightened side is your uniqueness, your actual unique self. Not the facades that you wear, not the social masks that you don and identities that you embody for some agreeability, okay? But all of us face this. And a lot of times, if one is more dominant than the other, Imagine a vacuum sucking life energy out. So no matter how much you breathe in new energy, there's like a siphoning going on. So what I do is I'm going to teach you how to balance your two sides of enlightened and shadow side. And some of this is going to deal with doing some shadow working, some journaling, but it's also going to lean into the enlightened side as well, okay? A great amount of your fears, habits, and even the way you react under pressure didn't start with you. When you came into this world, you had none of these conditionings, none of these layers of how to behave, how to act, how to think, how to feel. But as you started evolving and growing, your environment started trying to shape and mold you into what they wanted you to behave as. Like most of the population, you are likely living out of patterns, habitual patterns that were passed down to you ancestrally and socially. These conditionings were embedded long before you had any conscious choice to choose to accept or not. These are the ones that are embedded in your DNA, okay? The ones that are passed down orally, ones passed down through traditional values and beliefs, okay? Someone might say, if they're very passionate about going to church because they believed a certain way and it was thrust upon them to believe that way, they might pass that belief on to you. And you have the choice to accept that belief or choose to reject it. And that's your free will. And they might use some kind of persuasion and conversion of, I might give you, or you might receive this if you do this. That is called conditional meritorious receiving, okay? When conditions are met, things align. But it doesn't mean that it aligns in the most appropriate way for your unique self. So today I'm going to show you how to identify these patterns and rewrite them starting immediately today. This isn't wait five minutes from now. This isn't wait 5 years from now. Start today. When you start doing the work that you are meant to do, it starts taking effect the moment that you start it, okay? And this is not a fast rush thing. Allow the gradual process to unfold. Take it one step at a time. When something comes to your awareness that rises up, and you might think of something and you're like, why did I think of that? Don't judge it. Let it rise. Write it down in your journal, okay? Come back to it with a clear, balanced mindset, okay? We can't really do any of this work when our mind is chaotic or too analyzing, too logic-based, all right? Because a lot of this is going to surpass the capacity to analyze and logic, because those are based on material aspects of confirmation. When you received it, you didn't receive it through a material aspect of understanding. You just absorbed it as a gift, okay? Not all gifts are always in their greatest capacity. But I cannot do the work for you. This is where you come in at. So even if I show up in person, I can't do the work that you are meant to do within yourself, because I don't live in your body. I haven't lived the experiences you have. I don't think the same way as you think. I don't feel the same way as you feel. How you feel, how you think, how you experience life is the uniqueness to what you hold within yourself and how you process and say, life is like this, okay? It requires you to actually do the work internally yourself. You're not going out and trying to change an outside factor. You're not trying to change the behavior of someone else to coincide with make yourself feel better, okay? No, this is internal, this is inside work. All transformation takes place inside before it does outside. So the core content is awareness. Pattern awareness recognition. In your journal, write this down. Ask yourself the question, do I self-sabotage? In what ways do I self-sabotage? What is present in me that permits the capacity to self-sabotage? And I want you to go through and do the same thing with the next ones. Do I avoid conflict? Why do I avoid conflict? What is within me that tells me to avoid conflict? Why do I feel like I go back to default, or I get brought back into repetition of old behaviors? And of those old behaviors, I have certain reactions. What is present within me that permits it to exist within myself to react a certain way that I react? Again, you're doing this without judgment. You are not assigning meaning. You are not assigning it good or bad, or assessing it or analyzing it. You're just writing it down, and this is where you get familiar with what you hold within yourself, because you're not going to be able to do any of the work to rise yourself up in a greater capacity of core awareness of your enlightened side and your shadow side without actually doing the work, okay? All of these are not personality. They are programming. Just like a computer, you have the hardware, but you also have the software, okay? Hardware is the physical component. Software is the embedded component of energy flowing through, okay? Works on a mainframe, allows you to open up windows, executes commands, etc., etc. And it happens at lightning speeds. Did you know that within your mind and brain capacity as a combination, it goes even faster than the super computers? Yeah. Excuse me. The mechanism. Simplifying the depth, okay? Like I brought up the computer, you keep digging deeper and deeper, and you're gonna sooner or later get to the root code of the program that is running in the background. This is what is running in the subconscious and unconscious field of all that you are. The conscious field is when you are consciously taking deliberate choices, intentional steps in alignment to what you desire to become or experience in life, okay? I'm going to break the concepts down into digestible content. So stay with me. Brain runs on learned emotional loops. Nothing really sticks without some kind of emotional resonance. Whether you feel elated and loved, or you feel attacked or fearful, it embeds itself. It impresses on you, okay? And your body, your mind, your heart takes a snapshot of the experience. But it only takes a snapshot of what you viewed into and assigned meaning and value to. It doesn't take a snapshot of all that is occurring in the moment. These loops are formed with familial environments, repetition of emotional exposure. You might have done something, someone didn't like it. They brought in something that tried to disrupt that behavior. You did it again in a different capacity, and someone else showed up in a different capacity and tried to reinforce that. Okay, it's not always going to be the same words, but it might be the same energy in the moment. Okay. Inherited behavioral modeling. As a child, you're soaking up everything. You're soaking up how your parents behave and the interactions that they've had, how your siblings are behaving if you have siblings, how their interactions might be, how friends and social circles might interact with one another or might behave a certain different way. And you might have a genuine attachment to that friend, so you might embody an identity that friend is most likely to accept into their social circle, so to speak, okay? We all do it. None of us are innocent of it. We all do it. But you didn't choose the script. You didn't choose the codes. But you are responsible for rewiring the codes of your life story. Without being aware of what you hold within yourself, you can't really rewire yourself into a higher state of awareness. You end up having more of a shadow dominance versus enlightened dominance. And even those who are elevated in enlightenment still require a balance. The Tao teaches us that there is always a balance, coexistence of balance, not a compete for space balance, okay? So practical tools. Step 1, I want you to write this down in your journal. Step 1, identify without judgment. Let it come to the surface. Don't analyze it. Don't express meaning to it. Just write it down. Step 2, where did it come from? Trace its origin. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying that it just came from within. I'm saying, who might have given you the gift of that? You can keep tracing it back, okay? Step 3, interrupt the pattern. What allows the pattern to be present? When you interrupt when you change something in the pattern, it disrupts it, which means that it now opens it to being rewritten. All right, it's just like taking a code out of the software and rewriting the code in the software. You are rewiring your inner software. Okay. Replace it with an elevated thought, emotion, and actionable step, which might be a rehearsal of words or a repetition of words. It might be a physical movement, meditative state. Find a tool and resource that works in alignment to what you feel most comfortable with, but challenges you in the process. Because we don't want to go back into familiarity, but we also don't want to run you off of absolute conditioning of comfort. And the reason why that is because if you stay in the state of what you are most familiar and comfortable with, you will not grow. You will stay with a dominant shadow side. And all of the experiences coming into your life is going to keep the same loop going in. We have to disrupt the loop to disrupt the like energy flowing in. Okay? So step 4 is replace. Awareness breaks the loop. Repetition rewrites it. So what do? You reframe it, right? Reframing is rewriting the script. Because you are not broken, you are just conditioned. And anything conditioned can be unconditioned. or reconditioned or recalibrated. Okay? Nothing ever stays the same if we don't choose to allow it to remain the same. Okay? We only allow it to remain the same when we become ignorant of the awareness of it being present. Okay? And that's no fault to you, because they don't teach you in traditional school to become more aware of your inner self versus what you can perform outside of you. Okay? If this resonates with you, don't just watch this, apply it today. Drop a comment below with one pattern you are choosing to disrupt. Okay? If you are serious about mastering your mind, subscribe, because this is just the beginning. All right? This is just a snapshot of the fullness of what I go into. And I speak about this in my book, Mastering Your Thoughts, which is the second book in the series of transformation. First book is Mastering Yourself. Mastering Yourself sets the foundation and precedence before moving into mastering your thoughts. And after that is another pillar of mastering your perceptions. Mastering your perceptions is how I perceive things to be as, and how I choose to perceive things to be as. Okay? And sooner or later, because I'm still working on it, the next pillar will be released. But I'm not releasing the secrets of what that book is titled or the content that's going to be in it, because as I'm writing it, I am seeing how it reflects myself and how it's going to help you in your life journey. I might provide the links below. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Linktree. Look up Master Sage Dave Drew, and you'll find all my books on Amazon. Okay? The ones that are available right now. Don't forget to subscribe and click that bell notification, because you're going to get notified every time a new video is uploaded. All right? I have done the lengthy videos, but I'm trying to keep this more condensed and concise so that it keeps your attention and focus, and you can move right into the practical steps. All right? If I were to host a workshop, it would not be this short, and that's because there's so much content to provide that I could not put it into a 25 minute video. Okay? But each of the other videos that are on my channel highlights many of the aspects that I teach in becoming your highest unique self. What you think, you become. What you feel is like a magnet you attract into yourself. All right? What you imagine or visualize, you create it to occur, because you are a master creator in your story. You just were not taught that you are, because people were too afraid to approach you with the truth of all that you are. Connect with me below. Connect with me on Facebook. Follow me on Facebook. Phoenix Holistic and Wellness. All right. Check me out on YouTube, which you should probably have me right here, or it might be a feed through Facebook. But you can also find me on Yelp. You can find me on Google. You can find me on Linktree. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. Connect. Because my greatest joy is helping you rise up and vibrate higher daily, to come back into alignment of balance with your enlightened and your shadow side, to coexist and complement, share space, not compete for space. Okay? I love you guys. Be well. Have some sun in the day. It's Out here, it's pretty sunny out, so I'm probably going to go for a walk before I have some of the other tasks that I have to do today. But understand, you do not have to accept every gift of what someone says this is how life is, or what someone else perceives. That's their energy, and if they want to share it in the space, sure, let them share it in space, but it doesn't mean you have to adopt their perspective, okay? Their perception is their perception. Your perception is your perception. And if you don't like how you perceive things, elevate your perceptions, all right? Have a great day. Be well. Drink some water. Get out in nature. I love you guys.